Let's go.
The Bluetooth device is connected successfully.
Salute, salute. Hope y'all hear me. Hope everything is cool. We're gonna do a quick live real quick. Then I'll come back for Detroit after dark, but I feel I need to get this on out my phone so I can have some more space. Shouts out to everybody. Got two quick videos that we're gonna get up out of here. Shouts out to everybody coming through and everybody's gonna watch on the playback. Much love to my guy that's Vonta over there in the UK. Grand Rising, baby. But over here is Detroit after dark. But right now we're gonna talk about some shit real quick. Let's go.
Your name keeps being brought up. Your name has been circulating. And this is why I say you have like a celebrity aura about you. Because after you pass your humiliation ritual, your energy has got very, very big. And that energy has been commanding a lot of attention, even though a lot of it is unwanted. Your name is being brought up in group chats. You have one conversation with somebody, and after that, you stay on their mind. They ask about you, like what else you're up to. People that you haven't spoke to in a very long time, people that have done you wrong, they are still talking about you. Because no matter if it was positive or negative in their minds, you've been leaving an imprint on a lot of people. And one thing about you is recently, probably these past couple years, you really decide to lock in and walk in your authentic truth. You've been very focused, had your head down, and not really focused on the outside world. And the funny thing is, when you don't really focus on the outside world, that's when it takes a liking to you, and it's been paying attention to you. And it's been manifesting in ways where people are very impressed by you. They see that you're not giving up, which they thought you would have like a long time ago, because you were very vocal with the things that you wanted to do. And people saw your current circumstance and they saw what you wanted to do, and they just thought you never would have been able to do it. But you never gave up, no matter like what everyone else telling you and the outside noise was throwing at you. And it was pretty loud. They wasn't just like ignoring you. They was being vocal about ignoring you. But you went through something that kind of just lit a fire in you. And you have this new look in your eyes where no matter what is being thrown your way, you're going to keep going. And because of that, a lot of people are now seeing you as the blueprint. People in the beginning, when they were doubting you, laughing at you behind your back, pretty much looking at you like you are, what's the word? Like overly ambitious, saying things, but knowing you're not going to accomplish it. Now they see it finally coming together, and now people are finally paying attention. But at this point in your life, you don't even really want it. You just want your own validation. And because of that, that's making people even bring up your name even more. And also what's surprising is people from your past that you thought was like done with you, or you thought you had like a falling out with, these people are still talking about you, trying to attach themselves to your story. And they're grasping at straws, trying to find whatever angle they can do. And all this attention, it does overwhelm you at times. Because yeah, it's cool to inspire people. It's cool for you to give hope to other people that need it. But when you also have individuals that don't know themselves, that want to attack you just for being you, that's when you think that you would rather do it out. But regardless, if people are talking about you in a good way, bringing your name up in a negative way, it's not going to affect you, because no matter what they say, the mission is going to stay the same. You didn't come into this doing this for attention. It started off as a goal that you
Salute,
had.
Jordan.
And now that people attacked you and try to get you to give up altogether, it's personal, honestly.
Good.
Because you had let those people and what they had said in the past get to you, and it kind of threw you off the path for a little bit. But now, it's like no matter what is being said about you, no matter what attack is being sent your way, you just have this uncanny ability to just shrug it off. You're so unbothered right now. And sometimes you think that like you are like an alien walking amongst humans, because you're like in your own little world, not focused on what is going on outside of you. You are embodying that quote from the Bible. And I might butcher this, but when Jesus says to be not of the world, I'm butchering that completely, but I do know Jesus says to not be of the world, but still be in it.
And that's why you fucked up, because you quoted some Jesus shit. You should have quoted some other shit. You would have got it right. Fuck Jesus. The nigga ain't real. But it's like, Be in the world, but don't be of the world type shit. But what you should have just said, what all cultures and religions say, detach yourself from the world. That would have been a better thing. But we all see where he going. Ain't gonna knock him for like trying, but like there's still a positive message for us. You know what I'm saying? But still though, quit bringing up Jesus.
Like that, but that's exactly how you are moving. It's like you're in this world, but you're in your own world, and no matter what they say, it's not really going to get to you.
Yep.
Yeah, he do. Yes, the gaydar did go off. I'm like, it sound fucking zesty. And plus, speeding up the goddamn motherfucking live don't make it no better because motherfucker talk real slow. So I'm like, all right, let me speed this shit up. It is, so like he can sound normal. But yeah, sounds zesty. But like what he's saying is on point. What he said is on point. It is fucked up that he gotta sound like a zesty motherfucker. I'm kind of mad at that. On some real shit. They're guarding all the doors while they're touching all the kids. Someone gonna have to be standing up to fight them. That shit wild, son. But yeah, now we got another one right here, real quick. Just making this real quick.
Welcome back, True Seeker. Since February 28, 2026, the day Israel and the U.S. attacked Iran, it's been talked about the bombing of the all-girls school where nearly 200 people were killed. The story for why it was bombed is what's not agreed upon. There's all kinds of finger-pointing, bad intelligence, a mistake, a misfire, it was the AI. The reality is, no doubt, this story was created on purpose to purposefully divide humanity, and no doubt there will be some revenge attack in the future where the media says, oh, according to U.S. intelligence, this was revenge for the attack on the girls' school. And I'll remind you guys, Iran is run by U.S. intelligence. Again, we overthrew the country on the Jesuit order's birthday, August 15th, 1953, and there was never a story about the CIA giving it back. That's why all of the news that comes out of this axis of evil nation, as our government has called it for decades, it's always by the numbers. And if you don't know what I mean by the numbers, again, by the Kabbalistic numbers, by the Kabbalah code of letters, numbers, and dates. And if you don't know anything about Kabbalah, there's a good tree and there's an evil tree. And the name of the school translates in English to the good tree. So looks like the evil tree bombed the good tree here. And who is responsible for this? The gang that uses the scripture as a script. Of course, within the Bible, the numbers 144 and 153 probably stand out to most people. Especially within the Christian faith, you have the miraculous catch of 153 fish. You also have the chosen 144,000. And we talk about how these numbers have been encoded into the language by the people who are responsible for the language and the calendar that's synced up with the Pope. And we're going to get to how this attack is perfectly coordinated with the Pope and perfectly coordinated with the day of the year it happened on February 28th. But notice, the name of the school equates to 144 and 153 like Jesuit order. And remember, this attack is also perfectly coordinated with the Jesuit leader, the Superior General Arturo Sosa, just like the attack on Venezuela was, and Arturo Sosa is a Venezuelan. But yeah, the name of the school, 144 and 153, just like Jesuit order. If you're new here, those are the four base ciphers of the English language. They're based on the alphabetic order forwards. A is 1 up to Z is 26. The reverse alphabetic order is Z is 1
it is.
There's
something deeper going on.
Numerology applied. And yes, the name of this school translates.
I think Rich T just sent me some shit. Some like a oil spot blew up in Texas and shit. I guess like one of the largest oil spots. So like, get ready for some shit to go up. They're gonna probably blame it. This retaliation for Iran because we blew up the school.
To the good tree, which equates to 59. It was attacked on February 28th, the 59th day of the year on the Jesuit calendar, which is the world's calendar for most people. Again, the Gregorian calendar for the Pope was implemented by the Jesuits, the same people who standardized the English alphabet, the same people who are the modern day Templars when the old Templars were crusading this part of the world. And these days they use their state that they created, Israel, as the scapegoat, using that religious division in their favor. But yeah, the good tree 59, and most of the media refers to this event as the Manab school attack. Notice that equals 59 as well. It's in the town of Manab. But 59 and 167, the attack happened 167 days after the Pope's birthday. Not an accident.
keep in mind 167 is the 39th prime number. There's 39 books in the Old Testament and Protestant Bibles. The story at the beginning of the Old Testament in the first 5 books, the Torah, is what makes up the Abrahamic religions, which are Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. And also the widely agreed to number for the dead in the attack is 175. Notice the good tree equals 175. And this is the part where you scratch your head and you go, man, is all this stuff just psychological operations? Because whether it really happened or not doesn't matter. All that matters is the damage done in people's minds. How evil a nation attacks a girls' school in a needless attack. And then you're out here in the West and you're listening to the propaganda all day about how Iran is a threat to the world.
That's what's up.
I think the threat to the world is us. We're the ones always attacking everybody. But anyway, yeah, the agreed to number also equates with the good tree. And yeah, I mean, you read the article, it's all finger pointing. It's because of this, it's because of that. No, it's because of that. But just to remind you, Pete Hegseth, the face of the U.S. military with his Crusader tattoos on his body. Don't forget that he was chosen on the Superior General's birthday. That's the leader of the Jesuit order. He was appointed to be the Secretary of Defense November 12, 2024. A recurring theme. But yeah, just how perfect, How perfect. And every detail that's come out of this war has been this way. If you've been following my work, we've been covering it all. Unfortunately, hardly anyone's seen it because we're buried at the bottom of the algorithm. And thanks to everybody who comes in here and hits the like right away, because almost all my videos start off with an awesome like-to-view ratio, a high percentage click-through rate, things that are supposed to help get your video out in the algorithm, but we know why it doesn't. And again, thank you to the people who are hitting the like and leaving a comment and keeping the channel even just a tiny bit relevant. So I appreciate that. But yeah, this is the knowledge people need to see through the way the stories are created. And, it's been this way since way before AI existed. This is how they've been operating. Anyway, we'll leave it there for now. I think I hit all the main points.
Everybody go to the last video.
This was predicted 27 years ago.
Something.
Buckle up, because what you're about to hear is scary. Back in 1997, a group of futurists funded by a Washington, D.C. think tank and several 3-letter government agencies wrote a book about what the world might look like in the future. And when you look at what they predicted back then, it's disturbingly accurate.
Now, this is the title of the book, 2025, Scenarios of U.S. and Global Society Reshaped, there's that re again, by Science and Technology. You know what's so fascinating about this? It was published 27 years ago in the year 1997, and it was well funded by a Washington, D.C. think tank and 3-letter
Washington District of Criminals or District of Child Molesters.
government agencies. But here's the thing, 1997, 27 years ago? And they write a book about a 502-page book about what the world's going to be.
A 500-page book filled with dozens of predictions. And according to some estimates, nearly 90% of them seem to match what eventually happened. And the ones that haven't happened yet may be closer than we think. Because the remaining predictions go into things like World War III, mass starvation, global crisis, and much more. But instead of me going through the list, let's hear this gentleman explain it himself, because this is actually how I first became aware of it while watching one of his videos.
Okay, you ready for the list? Fast mutating viral disease pandemics, genetically developed vaccines, smart IDs, 1997, and this is, you can do the word search and research yourself. They predicted, not 2025, but by 2020, that people would be working from home virtually. Come on. Listen, that's World War III, of course. Nuclear devices causing widespread contamination. Nanotech devices. This stuff was never even heard of. Digital currency. Vaccination programs run by organizations like the World Health Organization for a global killer that has yet to emerge. First printing, February 1997.
The book is real. You can find it, you can read it, and these are not some far-fetched interpretations. Now, I would like to believe they're not right about everything, but we'll see. What we're going to focus on instead are the most important predictions that haven't happened yet, because we already know what took place. What's far more interesting is what this book says might still be coming. So let's start.
I want to now share with you some of the insights that these guys had way back in the mid-90s. Again, this is a well-connected think tank in D.C. They are funded and engaged with the wealthy corporations, the ruling class, the National Security Agency. And in 1997, they published this book, creatively titled 2025. And check this out. In the acknowledgments we read, our first thank you is to the sponsors, the people, and the organizations who made possible the original Project 2025 from which this book was created. What did they call it? It was called Project 2025. This book was published in 1997.
The project itself was led by futurist James Canton, an advisor in technology, national security, and economic forecasting. But what really raises eyebrows is the acknowledgments section in the book, because the authors openly thank the organizations that helped fund the original research behind it. Large corporations, technology companies, defense contractors, policy institutions. The kind of organizations that don't just observe trends, but often influence the direction of technology and policy. So the question becomes, were these simply educated guesses, or were they looking at plans already being discussed behind closed doors? Either way, let's take a look at what they predicted.
10 things to expect if this Project 2025 from the mid-90s turns
Whole
out to be correct
timeline
about the
change.
remaining items that have not yet transpired.
Yep.
And before I list them, I
Shout
want
out
to
to
remind
Jordan.
us, these are not just, throwing a bunch of stuff at the wall and see what sticks. I mean, it's like 90% track record here. But, and they may not be right about all these either, but here we go.
Now brace yourselves, because if what you're about to hear ever becomes reality, things could get very ugly. Let's hope they got this part wrong, but listen to this.
They said we will have World War III, a nuclear device causing widespread contamination, additional epidemics, cyber attacks, or in their world, computer-based socially significant crime, such as tampering with air traffic control or national security systems, a global currency, mass starvation. Now that, in and of itself, that's pretty heavy that we just considered. But given, again, the track record and how the things that they're announcing here, you also hear announced by the likes of Bill Gates and Klaus Schwab and Jesuit Tide. We're going to see some pretty interesting stuff as we go forward, but we're just on Project 2025 from the 90s right now. Let's look first at the mass starvation. I was mentioning Klaus Schwab and the World Economic Forum, WEF. He stated, we're going to have an angrier world. In the context of food and energy scarcity, we are going to have an angrier world. Those are his words. And so when he talks about an angrier world, and in the same interview, Klaus says that this angrier world will be because of economic conditions, and that's why I see the need for a great reset. In fact, roll that clip right now, please.
We have to prepare for a more angry world, and I see the need for action. I see the need for a great reset.
When you start looking around today, some of these ideas don't feel as far away as they once did. Conversations about global crisis, food shortages, cyber warfare, they're no longer just theory. The World Economic Forum often discusses scenarios involving systemic shocks, digital infrastructure attacks, and the need for a reset of the global system. You hear similar language from government reports, economic forums, and international policy meetings. The idea that a large cyber attack could disrupt entire countries, or that supply chains could collapse and trigger food shortages, is something even officials now discuss publicly. And when you see these same themes appearing again and again, it makes you wonder, were these futurists simply connecting the dots ahead of time? Or were they closer to the people drawing the map in the first place?
There is a Obama
They're the one that's causing it.
a movie that came out called Leave the World Behind. Why did the Obamas get behind this film? And the film, I won't be able to tell you that, but I can tell you what the film is about. It's about an apocalyptic scenario after the grid fails and there's a grid down crisis because of cyber attacks. And this comes out again right before 2025. And then you go back to 2014 with the release of a video game, which also has scripts like movies do. And this Black Ops 2, major prominent video game. The script
Black
writers
Ops
for
2
it
is
were
the shit.
consulting with that the Wall Street Journal calls the premier futurist in the national security space. So the top Pentagon futurist was consulted for the script on this video game. And what is the script for the video game? Well, the object of the game is to prevent a cyber attack in the context of a new Cold War with China. And guess what year this video game is set? Again, this came out in 2014, and the video game is set in 2025. So we're starting to see kind of a pattern here, are we not?
But isn't it a little strange, that film produced by the Obamas? I mean, why that topic? And why now? And why do we keep hearing about these kinds of scenarios more and more often? Every now and then, authorities even suggest that people keep some emergency cash at home, enough for about 72 hours, just in case ATMs or payment systems suddenly stop working. So you start to wonder, what's really going on here? Maybe it's all just coincidence. I don't know.
We look at World War III, and we look at their predictions that a nuclear device
Yeah.
causing widespread contamination will take place. This might sound outlandish, but keep in mind that since 1945, with the invention using of the first atomic bomb, there have been, in Cold War history, 16 near-miss nuclear events. And historians and national security
Yeah, man, the
experts
movie
estimate
Civil
that
War.
about 1%,
Yep, came
about
out.
1%
Yep.
chance in any given year of having a nuclear exchange. 1% chance, and then over a 100-year period of time, you'd expect it once.
Even the phone
You get
would be-
halfway through that, you feel like, we're living on borrowed time. Well, we're like 80% of the way through a 100-year period of time since 1945. So it's hard to expect the unexpected. It's hard to foresee that which our normalcy bias doesn't allow us to see as potentials. We lose imagination because we see only the thing immediately in front of us. But this is something that the Project 2025 futurists are saying to expect. And again, we see war, epidemics, starvation. Let's do it in the proper order. In the Bible again. War, starvation, epidemics. Now, those are 3 of the 6 that are up there from that pale horse.
God forbid something like that ever happens. I really hope they got this one wrong. But sometimes it almost feels like the scriptures are right on point.
Because they're
Now,
creating
here
the
are the
fucking
last 4
catastrophe.
predictions we're supposed to expect. Listen to this.
Now, the last 4 predictions that they make here, we got 10 things to expect if they're correct. Universal monitoring of business transactions. Smart ID cards. Now, watch this. This gets even more interesting. Smart ID cards, including your religious and or organizational affiliations and perhaps with your genomic data. I had to take a picture of that segment out of the book, put it on the screen so you can read it for yourself. Identification cards will be universal. Smart cards will contain information such as nationality, medical history, perhaps even key data from one's genome, education and employment records, financial accounts, social security, credit status, and even religious and organizational affiliations.
Now, that might sound a little far-fetched, but remember, this book was written almost 30 years ago, and many of its predictions have already happened. So before we dismiss the rest, listen to this.
The 9th one kind of sounds innocuous and not that big of a deal. It's just Social Security will be based on need only. The technical term for that is means testing for transfer payments or other forms of welfare. Means testing meaning only those who need it will get it, and they're making the prediction that will be the case with Social Security. Some people might be a little have their feathers ruffled by that notion, but I'm not meaning to get into the economic political debates about that. I want to bring this out because if they will means test it, then they will also be willing to take the next step, and that is ideological testing. Happened with the truckers in Canada. Bank accounts frozen. The targeted group, anybody who is the other, who is the demonized group of the day, can have now the precedent has been set in the West to be debanked, to have payment processors taken, to be prohibited from platforms that are kind of in that woke ideology at the moment. And so the fact that they're saying, well, you're not going to get your check unless you need it, that can step right next to the next stop on that journey toward tyranny. You're not going to get your food. You're not going to be provided for in a context of scarcity and famine.
Now, I don't even know which one is scarier, because honestly, all of them are terrifying. But it does seem to be getting clearer, doesn't it? They wrote about things like this almost 30 years ago, and today we keep seeing the same themes everywhere, in movies and video games. Some people call it predictive programming, the idea that certain scenarios are introduced in culture first, so that when they eventually happen, we're not that surprised. Now, I'm not making any claims here, but you do start noticing similar conversations popping up everywhere. Technologists talking about the future, even people like Elon Musk discussing ideas like universal basic income. Some billionaires quietly building underground bunkers, and more of these signals appearing at the same time. So, what's really going on? What are they preparing for? What do they know that we don't? Anyway, let's keep going, because what comes next is very interesting.
This kind of leads right into another one while we're on number 9 about the Deagle Corporation. This was a major intelligence outfit that they were cited by and utilized by Stratfor, which is probably the biggest global intelligence corporation there is. And Stratfor cites the Deagle. So they're a major player in intelligence developing and publishing. And they made a prediction that by 2025, there would be a reduction, look in the red, of population in America from 327 million to 100 million. And GDP would drop from 60,000 per person to 24,000 per person. Now, this is not to say that this will happen, but that's quite an alarming prediction to make. Why would you go out and say that? Well, it's in the context of here, what we were talking about. Mass
hope everybody doing
and
well.
Global currency. And major war and epidemics and cyber attacks. This is where you see massive population reductions and economic collapse. But I love their little disclaimer here. They first, this isn't the disclaimer, that'll be on the next slide, but first they say this: the collapse of the Western financial system will wipe out the standard of living of its population while ending Ponzi schemes such as the stock exchange and the pension funds. Take into account that the forecast that they've made here is nothing more than a model, whether flawed or correct. Okay, here's their disclaimer. It's not God's word. This is not God's word. This is not a magical device that allows us to see the future. Now, if you're planning the future and announcing what you're going to do ahead of time, then that's not a prediction. But these guys are just making predictions, and they're saying, you know what, this is flawed. This could not transpire as badly as we're seeing it, which makes me feel happy about that situation, about a population reduction of that magnitude and economic collapse. But whether it's going to happen or not isn't even so much the question as when.
So after hearing all this, it's easy to feel uneasy. A book written almost 30 years ago talking about pandemics, digital currencies, cyber attacks, global crises, and somehow many of those things showing up in our world today. Maybe it was just a group of futurists connecting the dots. Maybe some of these scenarios were exaggerated. Or maybe they simply understood the direction the world was already
Nigga, they
moving in.
created the
But there is
shit.
something important
Probably
to
reaction
remember.
solution.
Predictions are not destiny. History has always been shaped by the choices people make along the way. Every generation has faced moments that look dark, uncertain, even frightening. And yet somehow, humanity kept moving forward. So maybe the real value of looking at things like this isn't fear. Maybe it's awareness. Because the more aware people are of the world around them, the harder it becomes for anyone to quietly decide the future on their behalf. In the end, the future isn't written in a book from 1997. It's written by the billions of people living through it right now. And that might be the most important thing to remember.
Yup. And with that being said, we gonna get up out of here. YouTube be on that fuck shit. I know. Yup. She doing okay. She doing cool. You know what I'm saying? Just, like trying to get another channel established. You gotta, like deal with all the VPN shit because like UK is trying to monitor everybody. So like she gotta really fully protect herself when she get back. You know what I'm saying? So like they don't be monitoring our messages and shit because like they really trying to really crack down on their privacy over there. They really trying to take away their freedom of speech and freedom of expression. That's why I'm glad I'm covering it. But like they're doing the same thing over here, slowly but surely. Over 20 states got the age verification shit when you go to certain websites. Like my state is one of them. I can't go to certain websites without motherfucking doing age verification. I'm like, man, nigga, fuck this shit. I'm just trying to look up some shit. Trying to motherfucker try to grab some shit for the house. Just on some regular shit. Yep. And I said if there's no outrage about it, they're gonna scatter this shit to a whole bunch of states, and they motherfucking slowly but surely is already 20 states out of 52. So it's like, yo. But we're gonna get up out of here. I'm gonna come back like a little before midnight or like after midnight. For the Detroit After Dark. I just wanted to get this out the way so I can get this out my phone. So I can have some space. So shouts out. I'll catch y'all in a minute. Yup. Yeah, the ID. Yup. Yeah, the ID about to get technical. Yup. That technological ID, RFID chip, digital ID, all that shit. Yup. Palantir. Elon Musk and all the other tech billionaires. Fuck them all. But I'm gonna catch y'all in a minute. Peace.